Hello everyone, it's Mulder and I'm here to bring you a nice battle of Arevaci against Galatia that has been submitted to me by Johann, and Johann is playing as Arevaci against Zachbsain that is playing as Galatia. Both of them are AC members, so both of them are good friends, and I'm expecting to see a really nice battle there between two barbarian faction. You can see Johann there is bringing 4 Scutari swords and 2 Scutari spearmen as his main line there. He's also bringing 5 Iberian swordsmen. That's a lot of Iberian swordsmen, and people usually don't use them a lot, but Johann has been experimenting a lot with Arevaci, and his conclusion is that you have to use Iberian swordsmen as Arevaci in order to kill something, because Arevaci is a really hard faction. You have to Scutari that have only a 50 base morale, so that's really low, and you need killing power. You have those nobles, but they lack support in the Arevaci roster, so you really need to come up with something for a balanced army, and his conclusion was that you need to use Iberian swordsmen. And if you use Iberian swordsmen, you need to bring some long range, because if you don't, they will just get slaughtered by enemy skirmishers. And you can see Zachbsain has three Celtic slingers, so they will have to fight with the Iberian slingers before they can shoot at the Iberian swordsman. He's deploying really in a dense formation there with gaps through the lines. So he's wanting to, I guess, minimize the charge effect and letting them to maximize the effect of the Iberian swordsman javelin, so that you can see the units will wrap around the flanks. So javelins from the Iberian swordsman will deal a lot of damage because of that. They will wrap, and they will just be a nice target because they wrap around the flanks. It's usually not something you do, because if you do it, your melee infantry will lose the fight. But if you support with javelin, it is actually a good idea, because the javelin will kill so much more men and so much less of your men. So it is a good idea to bring them in such a dense formation. You can see the first line engagements will go in Zachbsain's favor, because Scutari stand no chance against Galatian legionaries. They are just wrecked. They will get wrecked by Galatians. There's no questions about it. Nobles will do well, however. You can see Johann is popping Headhunt and Battle Written, and he will use Second Wind whenever those two abilities are end. So that's a nice combo people usually use with a strategist general. It's really a nice thing to do. Headhunt, Battle Written, and then, as you can see, just Second Wind, and your general is fresh again and has killed a lot of men. So some fights are really totally not in Arevaci's favor, some other are. So really the nobles make the difference between the fights that are going in Johann's favor and the fights that are not. And now I believe some Iberian swordsmen are already into melee. Yeah, they did not fire all the javelin, so Johann is using them whenever he needs them in melee. Fires a maximum of javelin, but whenever they are needed in melee, use them in melee. It's really not a requirement to use all your javelin. You need those melee troops whenever they are needed in the battle. If you really want to empty all your javelin, you will lose the battle, because, as you can see, Scutari can only hold for so long. So you need that melee reinforcement, and you need it quick. But it is creating a kind of chaotic fight. You can see that it's not a line anymore. It's really a sort of trap like this. and it is creating nice opportunity for Zachbsain's cavalry, because he can go around the gaps and go for rear charge, and that will be a really big problem for Johann. You can see he's bringing his Celtiberian cavalry as a reinforcement, but Zachbsain is pulling his cav away, so that was a great move by him. There the Iberian swordsmen stand no chance against Galatian legionaries, which are just wrecking everything besides the noble fighters there. They are killing, and killing. The Celtic slingers are still alive and well, but they are getting catched up by Scuteri spearmen. That's really bad. Zachbsain should really retreat his slingers there, because Johann doesn't have a lot of cavalry. He's only starting to use them now. So he played really conservatively with his Celtiberian cavalry, and that's the right thing to do really, because he only has 2 Celtiberian cavalry. So if he loses 2 cavalry, I'm sure those 2 slingers will empty out their ammo, and they will be really deadly for him if he doesn't kill them. But he's chasing them off with Iberian spearmen, which is a great use of Iberian spearmen, because Iberian spearmen are shit. They are only there to fight, to support against cavalry and to chase off skirmishers, so that's the great use of them. There, the general is starting to lose against those Galatian legionaries. I killed a lot of men already, but he's starting to go down. There. And you can see Zachbsain is using his cav really aggressively now, because he does not want to get surrounded. So he's constantly charging and retreating with his cavalry, because he has a big cav superiority, but his infantry is starting to die, so needs to capitalize on that cav supremacy there. If he doesn't, he's dead. But he still has some nice Galatian legionaries that are still alive, and Johann has only 2 noble fighters that are really his main force there, that are those 2 noble fighters, and he still has cavalry. But those Celtiberian swords, those Iberian spearmen are going to die really quick, even if they fight cavalry, because they are such a shitty unit. They have such a low morale, and yeah, they are just good to support. There are no mainline infantry. But you can see if they support the Celtiberian cavalry, they can do good. And there, things are starting to look really bad for Galatia. Only a few infantry remaining, 2 slingers and a bit of cavalry. The cavalry is killing the slingers. That's a good move, because you don't want to slinger alive in late game, such as now. But at this point, Galatia will have a lot of trouble dealing with those noble fighters. Now the general really should go for the rear charge now. If it doesn't, it's sure those 2 will lose, and the noble fighter will be free to roam. So only 28 men for the noble horse. It is a close battle, but now when the Celtiberian cavalry, which is still 30 men strong, will kill the slingers, and that will be GG. When the slingers are gone, it's GG, because the general can do nothing against such a big blob of melee infantry, really. No way pulls that off. So it was a really good game. Galatia did what it could. Maybe I could have brought a bit more cavalry and be a bit more aggressive. I don't know, because that Arevaci is really, it's a great Arevaci. You always think you are going to win, but then those Iberian swordsmen start to come in, and you die. You just die to those noble fighters, because they have so much support with those Iberian swordsmen. They can do so much damage when supported, that it's really hard to counter. You can see only 82 kills on those Galatian legionaries. That's just not good enough, even if it's on noble fighters, and there are 59. That's just far too few kills there for a Galatian legionaries. So I'd say maybe the mistake was to bring no Levi Freeman. Zachbsain broke the Galatian swords as his midfield line, and I'm not sure I agree with that because those four Scutari took all the damage, but then the noble swords could go in charge, so they got their charge bonus, but Galatian legionaries could not charge them, and they did a monstrous job. They killed so much Galatian legionaries that they really won the battle for Johann there. And the slingers also, yeah, they did a decent job of focusing that general. Johann slingers did a decent job of focusing on Zachbsain slingers, but really the lack of Levi Freeman, I will bring no more than 2 Galatian swords to cycle charge because they have great charge, but that's it really. Besides charge, Galatian swords are useless, so I will bring a max of 3 of them. Support with Levi 3 your main line. Maybe bring more cavalry. You have those great Galatian raiders with Galatia, and against Arevaci they can be really useful. Even if I understand Zachbsain because they want to max his melee potential there and just go for a full rush, but against such an army which has so much melee potential, a full rush was not the right option. Or if you do a full rush, you need more cavalry to pin down those Iberian swordsmen and to hurt them, because they are weak against cavalry and against missiles. So it's a risky move to take them, but they paid off. You can see under 53 kills. That's impressive for such a cheap unit. It's really impressive. So it was a good game, and thank you, Johann, for sending this in, and see you next time. Bye bye.